This is Sharon Wilsie, back with another episode of the Horse Speak podcast. So this podcast is about giving horses a voice. And we are pulling from the almost 25 years of research that we've been doing into microgestures, neurobiology, maternal care messages. There's so much. It's a mountain at this point, which is why I'm doing the podcast, because we're just going to take one little step in this direction. So the thing that we want to talk about today is, what is zero? It's a keynote concept. If you read the books, if you come to a clinic, if you talk to somebody who's been learning about it for a while, zero is a big topic of interest. What this is a word that we came up with early on when we were working with a neurodivergent population at the school for students with learning differences. And that was an important term, because if you've been told your whole life to calm down, that's the last thing you want to hear. So I had to come up with a word that everyone could get on board with, and it was pretty neutral, but it described something that we can experience on the inside. So now we know that this word zero is really just about regulation, self-regulation, co-regulation. That means two bodies helping each other to find homeostasis. Basically, you've come back to a neutral place where your ventral vagal, if you're talking about polyvagal theory, can come online and you can feel connected and connectable. And resiliency, which is another big word, it's kind of out there today, but we've been working with this idea of resiliency for many, many, many years. And resiliency really just means when you do get stressed, because hello, life is going to happen, stressors are going to happen, you can bounce back. There's a window of tolerance, and you can kind of come through. You can come down if you got high, and if you got like frozen, you can come back up and warm up again. So resiliency is the ability to come back to your center after having a stressful experience. And with horses, this is so important. It's so important for them, because this is where I am going to say the predator-prey concept. That's out there. People know horses are prey, humans are predator. Eyes in front wants to hunt, eyes on the side wants to hide. And with that being said, what's the most important about that idea is that as a prey animal, horses' instinct, which are often inconvenient to us, so we call them sometimes inconvenient instincts, is to protect themselves by getting away. That's their first go-to. So if they can't flee, because we have fight and flight, there's also a flock, which is get to my group, and a freeze, which is I don't know what to do. So if horses can't flee, and they can't flock, they can't get to their group, their safe place, they may turn into fighting. So fighting is not the go-to for horses normally. And there can be, special cases, or stallions that are protective may switch on their fighting aspect more readily than geldings and mares and babies. And horses can certainly fight. But the most important thing is that as a prey animal, they want to move away from perceived danger. It's really simple. Really simple. To them, because they're a prey animal, what does that mean? That means that within minutes of birth, part of the encoded message in their system that they're born into is the awareness that they're vulnerable. A lot of baby animals are food for other animals because they're so vulnerable. So mothers have to really protect and guard and nurture, okay? That mother protective energy, we know that is like, don't mess with mama, right? We all know that. So baby horses hit the ground and have to get up and move, and probably move out of the area within a short time, because the smell of birth is going to attract what? Predators. So here's an animal that within an hour of life has moved on. They've walked maybe 10 miles to their new place if they're a wild horse. So then we have a human being, and when we're born, we can't pick our head up. We have to be completely cared for, right? We can't sit for 6 months. By 8-9 months, maybe we're crawling, maybe a year we're walking. I mean, we take a long time to get up and moving. So our primary message when we're born is it's okay to lay there and be cared for. You're going to be carried, you're going to be cared for, you're going to grow into yourself. And as a strictly, neurobiology level, the food comes to us. So the difference here is if you're born a horse, the idea is you are meat on feet, little baby. Come on, get up, we got to go. And if you're born as a human, don't worry about it. It's all going to happen. And by the way, lots of things on the earth are really good to eat, and you can eat just about anything. So that's a very different relationship to life. And it's so normal to us to have that thought about the world that the thought about the world as being a prey animal is hard for us to wrap our mind around. So most of the things that we see horses do that we don't like, the inconvenient instincts that we see horses do, we often call them names. We're like, oh, the horse is lazy, he's out to get you. We just have these judgments that we do. And I get it. It can be frustrating when they're in an instinctive behavior and we're like, what are you doing? Haven't you seen that chair? We've walked by that chair 5 times and now it's scary. I get it. But the way that they take in information about the world is based on, do I need to get away? And the way we take in information about the world is, how can I use that? If I see a chair in the aisle at a barn, I'm thinking, oh, good place to sit down. A horse is like, does that have 4 legs? Does it move? What does it smell like? If I bump it, what does it do? Is it dangerous to me? So even domestic horses that have been raised beautifully and wonderfully, and they have a great experience with people, have these instincts. So when they're acting in a way that doesn't make sense to us, it doesn't mean it's stupid. It means it's an instinct that we don't really lean into in the same way. We have fight and flight and flock and freeze. We have that too. We can get scared of things. We can have the panic reaction and want to run away. We have the similar nervous system because we're both mammals. But the reason we work together, getting away from predator prey, the reason we work together is because we're a social creature and they're a social creature. So if we can figure out how to use social instincts, what's the best social instinct a horse can show you? Follower instinct, follower behavior. They all have it. In a healthy wild herd, you've got mostly followers and a couple of leaders. And the leaders, by the way, are not bullies. The leaders are calm, thoughtful, and inner zero. Back to that word. So if you want to create a good social connection with a horse where there's mutuality, there's feedback both ways, that is caring, that creates co-regulation. We're better together than we are on our own. When I'm here with you, horse, you can count on me. I've got your back. I'm going to look for predators and reassure you so your instincts can relax that there's no predators here today. And a prey animal, it's not enough to say that once a week. They need to know every single time. Because you can't say to a horse, well, it was fine last week. They're like, yeah, but it's a new day. It was fine last week at the water hole too. And then one day a lion showed up. So they're an everyday kind of animal. They're an everyday instinct. Okay, so every day they got to check. They just need to check, double check that everything is actually okay. So that's why we're talking about zero. If I can bring that awareness that, hey, I don't want to get inconvenienced by your instincts, so let me understand them better. Let me work with your instincts. And I'm going to show up. I'm going to help you find your inner zero because you don't have to worry about the predators. I'll look. And in doing that, providing the protector services that a protector horse would provide is amazing. The outcome is amazing. It's really simple to do. You just act protective. You look around, you look at the environment, you take things seriously. You look like you would if you were taking your child somewhere and it was a playground and you might look and say, oh, that swing looks broken. Don't go over there. right? And so think about it from a mother horse perspective. She's not going to take her baby to a field and there's this big log there and tell the baby, hey, go over there and see if there's any bees or there's a snake or maybe there's a wolf hiding behind that log. Why don't you go look? She's not going to do that. She's going to say, stay back, stay behind me. I'm going to inspect it. And she'll get closer and she'll sniff and she'll do these things. And then after she's determined it's okay, and you've seen this. If you've watched horses at all, I know you've seen this somewhere because everybody tells me when I tell them, oh yeah, I've seen that. They go, and it's like their ears relax and their tail does a little one of these behind. They just go, what? And we started paying attention to that. And it turns out you can imitate that. So you can look at something in the aisle, you can just kind of point, look. Horses do respond to pointing. We'll get into that in another webinar session. You point at the thing, you can look at it, and then you can decide, and with your hand, all set. And this is a hand, it's not a tail. But guess what? We have double-blind practice this with wild horses, Mustangs, Conic, Wild Tarpon from Germany. We have practiced this even with zebra, donkeys, mules, horses. It works. So it's a cross-species communication. And the basic thing is if you make the movement, shoo, shoo, tail swish, it's just all done. You're saying all done. That's what you're saying. And watch them. Their tail will do it. They'll be all done with something. They'll be walking away even, choo, choo, with the tail. If they do boom like that, it's like, no, hard stop. I don't like it. When the tail goes flagging right up, right? That's a expressive tail of like, I'm really, really excited or I'm really, really scared or maybe a little of both. So watching the tail for flagging motions, there's an expression with each one and it follows the X and the O idea that I talked about in the last one. So that's what I'm bringing to you today. Thinking about that inner zero, thinking about horses from an ethology perspective, which is basically a big word that means let's look at this animal as a species instead of as a beast of burden, instead of as something I want to train, something I want to do something with, and you need to carry me and I have ideas about that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with riding a horse at all or training horses. I think horses need healthy, good education. I really do. But this is different from that because this is how do you build that rapport so you can quiet those instincts so they can find some inner zero, which is not meditation, I'm gone, la. It's actually, I'm not distracted by being worried about things. I can be present with you and I want to follow you because you protected me. Just like us, if I go somewhere and I go to another country and I don't speak the language and I have a guide there, if they don't talk to me at all and they just push me around and make me go in and out of this store and in and out of that thing, I'm going to get more and more nervous as time. I'm not going to get more trust. I'm going to get more nervous because I'm like, why are you not talking to me? So that's what this is. It's a guidepost to communicate with horses so that we can build a better bridge. That's what it's all about. So you can get to the training, you can get to the education because you can quiet those instincts. They're not so distracted by everything going on around them. And this is based on observable, reproducible, evidence-based research. Okay? So when we tell you something, it's because it's been done 1,000 times. It's been tested, it's been challenged, and it works. Otherwise, I wouldn't waste my time. So I want to thank you for being with us today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.